All right, my friends, we are back for the very last time. That's right, this is your very last writing prompt for fifth grade. So make it count, everybody. It's actually a really tricky question today. Would you replace your dog with this guy? So imagine if you had the opportunity to have a robo pet instead of your actual pet that you have right now. And again, this is a tricky one, especially for people such as myself who love animals. So when I took a look at the text and I took a look at some of my own opinions and my own experiences, I was kind of on the fence. I did yes and no for my opinions of yes, robo pets are awesome, and no, I want a real animal. So when I took a look at my reason number one, my biggest question about a robo pet is, can they love? That's kind of a deep issue, right? Because that's why we have the pets we have, because we love them and they love us. It's totally unconditional. It doesn't matter if we do our hair that day. It doesn't matter if we are sick, if we are not feeling well, if we are feeling sad, if we're feeling super happy, our pets are right there for us, looking at us with those great big beautiful eyes of nothing but love and trust, and they just adore us, and we feel the same about them, right? So that was kind of my big question, is can a pet love, or is it just programming? And for me, that's what makes a pet a pet. No offense to those of you that have things like snakes or spiders or things like that as pets, but I prefer an animal that can actually love, and I don't know if they can. That's kind of the big thing for me about having a dog, is I know that my dogs love me and I know that I love them, and it's this wonderful companionship that you get from having a pet. So that was kind of my big number one when I even just read the title of the article. The question or the statement from the article said they would need to answer a human's commands and even show that they care about their owner. And again, that's a quote directly from the text in this section right here. And that's kind of something that research, a psychologist has really identified in a robo pet. It would have to have that same kind of friendly, loving relationship as a real pet does. So I thought that was kind of interesting and definitely supporting of my can they love statement. And then I wondered about us too, human beings. Can we bond with a machine? Can we have a pet that is, cold metal and plastic and love it as much as we might love our dog or our cat or other pet that we might have in our home? I don't know, but it's a good question. And it kind of goes again with my statement of can they love? Can we love? Now, again, I'm kind of on the fence because I know that there are a lot of people that don't want pets for a lot of reason. Pets are a lot of work. There's a lot of things like brushing and nail clipping, and even then you have things like little hairs all over your house and your clothing. There's the joy of cleaning up all the poop that is left behind. And then in the text, it actually had a good point about pollution, and it stated, it was towards the top of the section here where it talked a little bit about how pet poop can pollute rivers and streams. It's also filled with germs that can harm things that grow from the earth. So, there's that idea too that if we didn't have these pets around, then we wouldn't have possible contamination of rivers and lakes and things like that. So I thought, if I am kind of on the fence, it is that would be a good reason, to support. They are cleaner. Plus, there are a lot of people that have allergies, unfortunately. And they might not be able to have a pet at all, so this could be a good alternative for them. So I wouldn't want to just strictly say no, absolutely not, because what if I had a kid, or what if myself was allergic to all animals that are of the cat dog variety? Well, that would be really sad to never have that experience of having an animal in your home and being able to take care of it and teach it things and have it love you and all those wonderful things that go along with having a pet. So that went all into my point number 2 that supports my kind of in the middle of yes and no on the RoboDog situation. And then the article actually had a point that I didn't even think about, shelter pets. So the article talks a little bit down in this section here. Millions of cats and dogs are already in need of homes. What will happen to them if we choose robots instead? So that's a good point, that we have this idea of, millions of these lonely cats and dogs that need homes and shelters, and what becomes of them? Do they not get adopted? I don't know. So all good questions to throw into our writing here. So speaking of writing, let's go ahead and jump in. So again, we're indenting, right? Push the tab button, and your introduction, you might say something about, let's see, we're talking about robo pets and possibility of having them instead of a dog. So what if we started with something like, having a pet is one of the greatest privileges a person can have. Because it really is, it's a privilege to be given the responsibility of taking care and caring for this life, this pet that is, trusting you. Having a pet is one of the greatest privileges a person can have. Sorry, there's a phone ringing in the background. Just ignore the phone. Let's see. So we were talking about, but what if you are allergic to all forms of pets? Or, cannot deal with the mess that comes with having a pet. So this is where some kids might be tempted to say, well, I've got a solution for you, but don't do that. Be really careful that you don't want to talk to the person that's reading your writing. You're just making statements about your opinion. So you could say something about robo pets have become a reality for people such as these, meaning people that have allergies or can't deal with the mess. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. Pausing again, making sure to notice that your introduction sentence is no longer just a short, quick one, right? It's not something like there are many different pets in the world and robo pets are one of them. We have more detail now. We're trying to really say more and expand more about what we're going to write about. So let's look at point number 1. So I said, can they love? And we have this wonderful quote, and I really want to use this quote in my writing because I think it's very powerful when you can quote from the text. Okay, so here we go. Let's see, switching over to blue, and then we were talking about the biggest question is if a robo pet can love. Let's see, the text states, and let's see, I want my quote here. They would need to answer to a human's commands and even show that they care about their owner. Okay, so let's see, you know what bugs me though, and it's totally okay if you have this problem and you don't fix it, but I like everything to match, so I'm going to fix the font so it's the same size as the other font. All right, the biggest question is if robo pets can love. The text states they would need to answer a human's commands and even show that they care about their owner. So here's where I want to give an example. This is a great opportunity for you to give an example of a pet that either you have or a pet that you know, maybe a friend's pet or a relative's pet. So personally, and I know I've talked to you a lot about my 2 boys, I have Cody and Teddy Bear, and they are brothers from the same litter, golden retrievers, and they're pretty amazing. It's a real privilege to be able to have them. And I remember when Cody was very tiny, he left his mama and walked over, kind of stumbled over because he was really tiny. He had been born just a couple of weeks ago, and he put his little head on my shoe and he went to sleep. And that was one of the most special things, because I looked over at my mom and I said, okay, here's our dog, he picked me. And that was really neat, and I don't know about a RoboPet doing something like that, but okay, so let's see. For example, I can remember when my dog Cody was very young, and he got up from his mama and his litter mates, stumbled over to me on his new legs, being that he's new and tiny, and rested his little head on my leg, and I was more on my foot, and went to sleep. I knew that day that he had chosen me to, get to take him home. So then I would wrap it up, tie it back into my prompt, right? So experiences like this one make having a pet such a joy. The love and dedication we feel for our pets and let's see, we feel for our pets is a truly wonderful experience to, I know I spelled those wrong just a second, to have in life. Okay, so again, noticing that I am saying a lot about my prompt number 1. I'm talking about love, I'm talking about bonding with pets, and I'm still up here. I'm going to say these things. I probably will run out of time, so I won't be able to type them in here and model it for you. But all of this will be in my writing. But again, we want to make sure that we're saying everything that we need to say with as much detail as possible. Many examples from the text, but I can't emphasize enough that it's important to tie it back in. So I gave you an example of Cody and the day he picked me when he was a tiny puppy. But then right here, I tied it right back into my prompt question. I didn't just leave it hanging and then just jump right into the RoboPets are cleaner. So again, it's important to make sure that you're really staying close to your topic, and that's probably one of the hardest things for kids to master, is you have to make sure that you're sticking with the prompt question. You can add as many examples from your life, you can talk about as many things as you want as long as they relate to the prompt question, but you always have to make sure that you're tying it right back into the prompt question, because that's really important. That you stick with that. That's how a lot of kids lose points when things are graded, especially on things like M-Steps, which you will end up taking in 6th grade, that they lose track of what they're supposed to be focusing on. So they might move into talking about their brother's dog or the time they took their dog on a vacation, and all of that is fine. Just keep it close to the prompt question. So again, this is our last writing prompt together, and I hope you all have an absolutely amazing summer, and I look forward to seeing you next year in the 6th grade hallways. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.